Hey guys, Ramblin Bob here again with another update with the Pecron E600 LFP. So we have three different panels we're going to test out, or three different arrays, so we can test out the voltage to make sure that this little guy can do what it says. So let me do one more connection here. There's so much to do here. So I have we're going to start with a lower voltage on a single 200 watt panel. Let me get these apart here. These MC4s are good cables, but you got to fight them sometimes. But I like that. I like that you have to fight them, because then you know that they're very, very protective outside for the weather. Okay, so let's put this in here and this in here. And then you always hook it to the source, because that's the source, of course. That's an easy way to remember that. And then let's see here. I was taught that when I was a little tiny kid. Well, when solar panels first came out. So I was a littler tiny kid. Now I'm a big tiny kid. Okay, so we have three sources coming in. Let me close this one. We all know the E600 LFP, and this, if I can back it up just a tad, as you can see, that is like, oops, there, everything's falling. Okay, give me a second. Okay, I'll put these up here. Okay, we got tons of stuff hanging here, and I wish I had a cameraman. Okay, so as you can see, this is the E600 LFP, and this is like the big brother or the big daddy here, the E600 LFP. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this back close here, and you can see the size difference. It's a pretty neat little box, guys. I was very, very impressed with the power output of this little guy. To be able to run a microwave or you know, something heavy like that on such a small device is just, wow, that's cool. That's really cool. Okay, so we have three different, oh boy, hold on, I'm tangled again. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Boy, this reviewing process, it's got headaches. Okay, so this is a 200 watt Acopower solar panel, and it comes in open voltage at just about 22 volts. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll back up just a tad, because I believe that we have a visitor here. Okay, you can go up there if you want. Go ahead. Go on. Okay, so that's my scale size measure right there, guys. To give you an idea of, you've all seen Ramblin Bobcat on this system, and now you can see that Ramblin Bobcat is literally bigger than this system. She likes this, but doesn't like it as much as this one. There's not enough room to lay up there. Okay, so Ramblin Bobcat will sit there. Okay, and I'll put it back down here, and that way we can see the power coming in. So, as I was saying before Ramblin Bobcat hopped in the picture, this is almost 22 volts open circuit coming from an Acopower 200 watt solar panel. See how she gets comfortable? Okay, so we're going to put this in the system, and we're going to see if it can handle that at 22 volts. And okay, now it's in, and here is your line, and notice that it has that little delay when you charge, guys. I do like that, because it's kind of like the MPPT controller, the BMS, and the solar panels are all talking together and seeing what's the best voltage and amperage for this system right now in this configuration. So notice it takes a little while, and there it goes. So that was probably, what do you think, 10 or 15 second delay? Which I'm okay with, but just to let you know ahead of time, if you do decide this system is good for you, that you will have a little delay. So don't think anything's broken. It's just kind of, you know, reorganizing stuff in the brain, if you will. Okay, so now that dropped down to 19.2 volts about, at 4.3 amps approximately. And it's only bringing in about 80 watts. Now it's early in the morning, but this test is a starter test, I like to call them, because what we're going to do is we're not going to see how to max it out on these smaller systems. The big one might max it out, the big line I have coming in, but I want to make sure that it can hold and handle the voltage without any resets or problems or glitches or anything. If you guys remember when I had this one originally, those boards were funny in there, and I had to swap them. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm testing this to make sure that it can handle this, you know, 22 volts open circuit without doing any problems or reset or anything like that. And we're going to let that go for approximately, oh, I don't know, maybe a minute or two. I mean, usually like this one affected very quickly, guys. Within a minute or two, it started acting weird, and then I changed those boards to the new ones, and now it's fine. So I learned from this one what to do on this one. So let's just watch it here, and we'll see what it does in real time. We still have 4.2 amps coming in, which is approximately 82.8 watts. Now notice you do lose on conversion, guys. It's pretty close. Excuse me there, Rambling Bob. Your hair is hanging over. Well, I'm sorry. Okay, she yelled at me, guys. Okay, so almost 84 watts, and notice this is 82. It's not much, but just, be aware that you do lose a little bit in conversion, plus it has to, run this little box too. It's not much. You don't lose much. I also noticed that there's no way to keep this screen on, so you have to keep refreshing it as you do the Big Daddy one. So, which is okay, because, guys, over time, this will save your power. If it stays on real bright all the time, that would kind of eat up your extra power. Now notice that she sits up there because the system usually gets warm. But what we'll do is we'll do a test, and we'll see here. Okay, first we'll test Rambling Bobcat. Okay, the cat is 82 degrees. Okay, so the system is 77. So the cat is actually warming up the system. That's how cool this thing runs when it's charging off this voltage and this amount. It's a small amount, guys, but a lot of people have those, 100-watt single panels, or the ones with this that 5521 barrel. So that's my first test in this series. Okay, and this is update number 2, I believe, and I'm doing as much as I can to help people figure out, is this system good for you? Is that one or another one or whatever? So I'm just trying to put out as much information as possible to help the folks out as much as I can. That's what the channel's here for, is for everyone to learn and see if this is right for you. Okay, well, it didn't, as you see, it didn't crash, guys. I would call this a very successful test, wouldn't you? The system is still active, 82 watts input, 19.3 volts input, just under 4.4 amps for about 80 some watts. Okay, so that test was really wonderful. So let's pull this out. Okay, now we're going to step it up a bit. Okay, so we're going to go to the next step up is going to be, I have 4 Acoupowers in series. Okay, remember, it's still early in the morning, but I have 4 Acoupowers now in series, and that's on this array here, and that's coming in at about 44 volts. So there's 4 in series, but there's 2 in series, and then 2 in series, and those series in parallel. So it's called series parallel. There's 4 200 watts, which is 800 watts. They're flat, though. They're flat on a vehicle, so that way that's my test up rig for when I'm out. That way you can see, and we don't expect 800 watts or anything close to it because of it's early in the morning, plus remember the solar panels are flat. But what I'm testing, remember, is the voltage to make sure this little puppy can hold that. Oh, sorry, kitty, I said puppy. Okay, we're gonna see if this little kitty can maintain that. Okay, so, right, Rambling Bobcat? Okay, all right, she answered you when you talked to her, guys. Right, Rambling Bobcat? Okay. Okay, she answered already, guys. Okay, so notice the pause, and then now it's starting to go up. And let's see how far this goes. Now, this is coming in at open voltage at about just under, well, I think it was about 41 or 40. Right now, it's about 40 volts. So now we just doubled the input voltage on this machine. And we're getting 265, 280. It's still going up to 88. 321, so it's getting better, guys. So this one I could believe it would max it out, possibly both of the strings. Okay, I think Ramblin Bobcat is all done. Oh, she's repositioning. Okay, she wants to hear better on this side, guys. All right, hey buddy. Okay, so there you go, guys. Look at that, 395. So like I said, it's still early in the morning, but notice that the voltage dropped down to 35 volts. So we're going to keep that there to make sure. Notice it's coming in at 410.7 watts. So it's actually putting into the system 410.7, but it's getting converted down to 395. And that's 11.5 amps. So that's a good amperage, guys. That's once you get over 10, it starts to get a little bit warm on the cables, depending on how thick your cables are. So what we're going to do now is step 1. While we're letting this run in the background, we'll have some fun, and let me test the the temperature of the cat now. So the temperature of the cat is now 83.6 degrees. So Rambling Bobcat's heating up. And then what we're going to do is we're going to test the input temperature of the system here. So we got 78, which is very, very close to room temperature. Even around the port, look at, there's no heat, guys, no heat. And on the cable, so there's really no change in the system anywhere. That's very, very good, because then you don't have to, oh, there's 80. I saw 80 right there. But that's, guys, that's nothing. Here's, oh, there's 88. Okay, so obviously on this side is probably the charging board, the MPPT controller. It's on both sides on the bigger machine, but obviously there's only one MPPT controller on this model. So I'm going to assume just by the heat, what do they call that? The heat referencer. What do they call that? Okay. Anyway, there's a fancy name for it. The heat thingy, you know, where you see the heat source or something. There's a name for it anyway. Okay, so if we see this side, it's only 78 degrees, but if we go on this side, see that? It jumped up to 85, 83. Oh, there goes Rambling Bobcat. So obviously this side is hotter than this side, right? Maybe it's in the middle. Oh, there you go, guys. Okay, so, oh, there you go. So 88 I saw is the highest, which is nothing. So notice that when you go in the middle, okay, so now we know that they probably centered the MPPT controlling board right here in the center, which would make sense of why you wouldn't have it off to a side, but now we know 100%. It's still at 396, guys, so that the max of this input is 400. So we're definitely doing what the box says it can do, and it's coming in at 35.6 volts, okay, which is about 40 open circuit. And the temperature is 77. 80, and the center, of course, is 82, 86. So, yep, okay, so we confirmed a heat signature. That's what it's called, guys. Boy, I couldn't remember that for infrared. So it's called a heat signature. When you can find the source of the heat, it's called a heat signature on a infrared camera. Okay, so basically, it's holding it, right, guys? It's holding it, and you can see that the charging is going up. The input is 360. The time would be about 1 hour. The battery is 27.5, and the, let's see, I don't know if you, oh, you have to turn the other one on to see the other one. And that's basically like the power factor and the voltage. Notice it says voltage, oh, there it goes, okay, 35 volts. Okay, there it goes. Okay, now you notice that that little delay, guys? So there's like a system startup. Now notice that this is supposed to be 120, but it started at 1 and went to 35. So that's the system kind of going through a startup boot sequence, I believe. And now obviously it idles at 121, and it's rock solid, guys. I mean, this is a hell of a little box. I'm very impressed with this box. I think overall, other than the capacity of the larger system, of course, the very clean screen, the bright screen, the buttons are all in the front, the access panels and everything are in the front for the everything you need. I think I'm more impressed with this small box than I am with this big one, other than the battery capacity and the inverter output obviously is, you know, bigger. This is 2,000 watt output and this is only 1,200. But guys, if this would have been my first purchase, I would have almost looked down on that, because I'm like, well, this one runs better than that one. So this, good job, Pecron. This is a newer model, and this one seemed to work out all, if not most of the, I don't see any bugs. I think they worked them all out. Voltage is good, as you can see, 121, rock solid. This is 27.5. Now, obviously, guys, that's a charging voltage. That's not the actual voltage of the battery. That's the energy coming in, because a voltage has to be higher than the battery to charge the battery. That's how voltage works. It kind of, when you pour soda from one side, or a swimming pool, you pour it from one, you know, to the other, and you have two pools. The higher one will always, you know, end up going to the lower one. That's how voltage works. It's like a pressure system, and when the pressure is higher with the voltage, it forces its way through the straw, if you will, you know, the cable, into the lower voltage until it balances perfectly. And that's why on this system, you had to wait for all those darn batteries to balance. That's what the cascading cables were with this system. Okay, so I think this test is 100% complete, guys. What do you think? We're sitting at 121 rock solid. We're not using anything, but we have 395 watts in. The most that this will accept is 400, but notice that we're actually pulling at about 410 on this meter. So you're losing a little bit in conversion. See, 396. It's right there, guys. This is very impressive for the first test with this thing, with solar. This is the first time I actually got to try these live feeds here, because I've charged it with AC since I got it. Okay, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to put this one, because I don't want to waste, you know, this is free energy. It's free money from the heavens here. I'm going to plug this in this system. And, well, you know what? Hold on. Let me pop this off here. Let me pop this bad boy off. Sometimes these meters eat up just a tad bit of power, and I'm trying to fill an 8 kilowatt system, guys. That is not a toy. That is a large system that can power an entire house. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to now lose this power by plugging this one in to here. Okay. That's a low enough voltage, but still, guys, try not to hot swap stuff like that. If you have a DC cutoff, use it. Okay, now this one I have a DC cutoff on. This is, okay, I'm going to turn the DC cutoff on, and now you're seeing, if I can get this cable out of here, now you're seeing the input at 50, almost 57 volts now, guys. So once again, we're putting another 50% of voltage in there. So we tried, the first one was 22, then the next one was, I think about, what was it, 41? Yeah, 41 or 42, something like that, open circuit. And now we're going to try a kind of a bigger daddy, if you will. This is almost 60 volts coming in. Now this is 6 100-watt Thunderbolt Harbor Freight cheapie panels. They were about $100 a piece, $600 for the rack of them. I have them in series parallel, except in this setup I have 3 in series on each side, and those 2 series coming in as a parallel. So basically it would look like this. For those of you who don't know, there's 3 panels here, there's 3 panels here, and those 2 panels are going into the system like that. So then, you know, they kind of go down like this. Positives here and the negatives here, and then the systems are up here, the 3 and the 3. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to turn off DC cutoff to make sure it's safe, because anything above 48 volts, guys, could be hazardous to your health. Now I'm going to plug this in. Okay, it's safe. I got to turn on the DC. Okay, the DC cutoff is on, and now we'll see that it'll have that little pause in between there as it ramps up, if you will. So we'll give that a second. I'm trying to get a cord long enough here. Okay. And notice that there's no energy coming in, and then now it started. So, you know, I like that. So what I think this is if you guys have ever had an air conditioner with an option called soft start. Air conditioners are extremely powerful at first, kind of like an induction motor or a compressor. It takes like all of this to get it started, and then it kind of goes down like this. But a soft start system goes like this. You see how that power gradually goes up, and you're witnessing it in real time. It goes up gradually, and that's much better for a system. So now we're hovering at the working voltage of just under 46 volts. And at 8 amps coming in, that's 368.7. But notice, I think it's still going up a little bit. It's still early in the morning. I was hoping that this one would get enough sun to max this out so you can see it. But notice it might take a little bit more time. It's only 10 o'clock in the morning, so the solar is just starting to get there, you know, good. And remember, this is 400 watts of 600 watts of Harbor Freight panels, and we're getting already that, which is about 60%. And remember, the sun has clouds, and it's not fully up to where it can be seen. Let me see on my security camera. Yep, there's a little bit of shadow still on 2 of the panels. So when you have shadows, of course, that drops down your voltage and your power output. But we got the old famous here. Look at that, 357. That was a famous one, right? We all know what we're talking about when say 357. Dirty Harry, the Magnum. Okay, so now we're waiting. Now notice this one still coming in at 422. But remember, this is 800 watts of solar panel on this array, and this is 600 on this array. So if you look at that and you take the averages, but in fairness, these panels are flat on a vehicle, and these are aimed a little bit towards the sun. Not perfectly, but they're aimed on an angle. I wish I could get the angle better, but I have to go reset them in the summertime when I have more time to get out there, because I have to get up on the roof and reset those. Those are my testing panels now that come in as a optional testing array. and that way I can have, you know, I don't have to go out there and set them up every time, guys, you know, because setting up panels, it can be a pain in the butt. That's the problem with the foldable ones. However, when it's an emergency, I will take my butt outside and I'll set them up happily, because you don't want to be in an emergency. I wish nobody to be in an emergency. Okay, so if you see, we're 366, same voltage, so that means it's charging voltage. Let's pop that one off, back to 40%. And notice that the voltage output, obviously, still rock solid, guys. So very impressed with this system. This, like I said, if I would have bought this first and then I would have bought this one, I probably would have complained more. But this, I love this system, guys. I'm not going to lie to you. This is a good system. It worked for me. There's some folks out there that had troubles, you know, like with the knocking and everything. One person, that Kevin, had that trouble. Hopefully that worked out, Kevin. This one, guys, here, I'll put the camera close. The only thing that you hear, ironically, is the fan from this system. It's on and it's very low. This one is literally not even on at all. And remember, we're putting in 45 volts, which is 60 volts almost. I think it was 60. Yeah, 60 volts open circuit. So now we stepped up a lot in the voltage. I don't have any arrays that are more than this. I don't like high voltage, to be honest with you. I'm not a fan of that. However, with the right DC cutoffs and the right safety procedures, I think I'll upgrade to a higher voltage, because these allow up to 95 volts to come in. And I always like to leave what's called headroom. In the music business, for speakers and power, there's headroom. So like if you were talking on a microphone and the volume is up like this far, there's headroom, which means I can give you more power if you need it. So that's what I like to leave in a solar panel, is what's called headroom. And that way, if for some reason you have a power spike, like say you're coming in right at 95, you know, I think that's crazy. But say someone's coming in their system right in 95 volts, and all of a sudden, for some crazy reason, you have a power spike to 100 volts. You could burn out this MPPT controller. So what I would like to do is maybe input at maybe 80 volts, and that would leave 15 volts of power spike headroom in case that has to go up like that, okay, if that makes sense to you. So we're going to do, now we have the higher voltage. We're going to go back to this guy. We don't have the cat, guys, so we're going to say it was 82 still. The Rambling Bobcat is over on my chair sleeping, waiting for me to come back. So we're going to test the system here, and we're going to test right in the middle. So now we're at 80, 79, 80. We'll call that one 81, and then we'll go nicely around the board so you can see 81, 81, 81, oh, 92 there. I think that hit the cable. Yeah, I think that's on the cable, guys. All right, hold on. Let me go under the cable. Okay, yeah, so I was hitting the cable. So obviously the cable is going to be higher. Let me see if I can get it on the cable again. Where's the cable? Well, it's hard to hit now. Okay. Where's the cable here? Yeah, see how the cable's a little bit hotter? Just a little bit. I got a 90 somewhere. I'm looking for it. Oh, there we go. Okay, let's go in the middle. 87. Okay, so maybe it wasn't the cable. Well, it's hard to tell. Either way, guys, 90 degrees is nothing. Nothing for a system that's charging. I mean, that's just a hot summer day. That's nothing. Equipment can take that like it's candy. Let's try it again here. It's a pretty accurate reader here. I've tested it a few times. I know my source of information is the portable electric heaters that I have. I know exactly the temperature they run at, so that way you can test things like this and make sure that this is even close to what that, you know, those little tiny heaters run anywhere from 230 to 250. And by using this, then you can see that it's your test subject works out well. It's like a balancing thing, kind of, you know, like a second opinion, if you will. Okay, so let's go right in the middle, because I think that's where the heat is being generated, is right in the middle. So here, 85, 88, okay, so 87. So if I were to take a guess at this, if I take a stab at it here, 87, 86, I would say that the MPPT controller is approximately this big. It's a little baby one in there. Okay, it only goes up to 400 volts, or I'm sorry, 400 watts, so it doesn't need a very big one like these. These are bigger in this system. But the important thing, guys, is the test overall. We're coming in at 46, hopefully you can see that, 46 volts, okay, very, very, very steady.
46, and you can see that the baby voltage, I call it baby voltage, the tenths and the hundreds are literally, you know, bouncing around about maybe 1 or a half a volt. That's normal. That's normal. So plus, remember, the sun is still coming up. We have 380 watts coming into the system. We have 27.4, that's the floating, basically when it's charging, and then it'll float on top and kind of trickle charge it when it's done. And notice the output voltage hasn't changed still. Very, very good little screen, guys. I like this screen better than this one because these have to be bigger, so these look a little bit more cleaner, but same thing. And this little speedometer thing, guys, it's cool. I mean, I think it's more of a gimmick, but I think it's cool. If you know that the system can only do 1200 watts, which we already proved in the last test, that I ran this sucker for many minutes at 1250, you know, that's 50 watts over what it's supposed to do. This system doesn't do that. It cuts off right away when you get over 2000. It just says you're done. This one actually has a little bit of cojones, if you will. It goes over what it's rated for, and I like that. So Pecron, good job. You're going in the right direction. If you underspec your products, people will talk more highly about them because you're actually giving them more than what you said you were going to give them. That is awesome. That is why to this day, I have probably, I don't even know, guys, I have like 20 or 25 solar panels now, right? And my favorite ones out of every solar panel that I have here are the Thunderbolt from Harbor Freight, and they were $100. I do like the Bluetti ones I have. I do like the Pecron ones I have, but you have to go out and set them up. So the Thunderbolts I can leave out all the time. So portability, I think overall, I really like the Pecron PB300s. I like those panels because obviously there's more power there. I like the Bluettis because it's a lighter, easier to carry system. When you have two of them, you can put them in series and run them into this bad boy or something else. The other two panels I have, the Pecron 100 and the TIMEUSB for the foldable ones, they're a little bit too small, and they seem to be starter panels. I think they're perfect for a starter system and a starter panel, but this is not really a starter system, guys. This bad boy can take up to 95 volts input all the way down to 12 volt input, and it can power 1250 watts, already proven on video, good test, and this puts out actually 100 damn watts. So all the problems that we had other than the menu, there's no menu on this that I found, and there wouldn't be because unless it's hidden in the background somehow, because it has an operating system, if you will. This one had problems. This one does not, guys. This is like the first week I've had this, and I've been testing it every single time I get a chance. And obviously it doesn't charge as fast as the big systems, or it doesn't have as much battery capacity, so my tests are limited to that. However, guys, I ran some big stuff on this. I ran a microwave, I ran that heater, only to 900 watts because the surge was too much. Remember, it went up to like 13, I think 1373 it cut off. At least that's what it said on the meter, and then it hit 1505. But guys, that's big stuff for a little toy battery like this. This to me feels like a toy, except it's a very, very serious toy. I mean, you could have lunch on this thing, like not on it, but you know what I mean. You could run your heaters, and you could run your let's see, my rice cooker, my egg maker, my kettle, my what's it called, my frying pan. So that's all electric stuff, guys. You know, the hot plate, my George Foreman grill, all that can run on this. I'm completely blown away. Now, obviously, you don't get the runtime of a bigger system. However, for a box this big, okay, this is no bigger than an average car battery with a handle on it, a very fancy handle at that. For that to be able to make you lunch out in the field, that's, to me, that's absurd. That's awesome. That's absolutely mind-blowing that the technology has come that far in maybe 5 or 10 short years. I can't wait for the future of either this company or any company, because people are starting to really throw some money behind these products and make them better, bigger, and stronger, and that's what we all want. They have systems now that can run your entire dang block. That's how big they are for solar. These companies are installing megawatts, which is million watts plus of solar arrays, and that's, just think of that, 1,000,000 watts. What would you do with 1,000,000 watts? Holy cow. The average house is anywhere between, I don't know, maybe 8,000 and 12,000 a day. My house is very light. I use, I'm not, you know, I have all these things now and a bunch of solar. So off the grid, I think we are using anywhere between 4 and 7 a day. I live, you know, I work a lot, so I'm not home much. But I mean, 4 to 7, you could get that in 1 or 2 big, nice arrays every day and never have an electric bill ever again. I'm sure the electric companies will hate that, but all right, well, I think this is a long enough ramble to make this test. As you can see, it's still working. We're pulling in almost 49 volts. We're pulling in 390. If we were to let if we let the test go a little bit longer, I believe that would hit 400. And maybe we can go one more minute. I want to see this max out, guys. I've never seen it at 400. 396 now is as high as I saw, but that's because of the sun. It's not like the wall. I was able to get, I think, 396 as well from the E2000 600 watt AC charger, and then 282 I think I got off the charger that comes with this system. So it would have been nice to see a 400 watt charger come with this system, because if you can bring in 400, let's bring in 400. You know what I mean? So they probably saved a little bit of money there, but that's okay, because when you have a chance, charge your battery slower, the cells last longer. If you need it quickly, then yeah, you know, push as much in there as it'll take, obviously. Always watch your system to make sure you're safe. Okay, so, well, let's try, let me try one more, guys. Let me, here, let me turn off the DC here, okay. DC cutoff is off. Okay, and now what I'm going to try to do, I'm going to do one last test before I go. I know I ramble a lot, guys, but I want all the information for you guys as possible, because that to me is a point of a review. If you don't have the information, why else would you watch this video? So let's see here. Let's get as much as we can to help everybody here. I'm going to run this directly in without the meter now, just to see if we can get a little bit more. Now notice that this is coming in at 400, so maybe I'll try that one again too. But okay, so this is going to be the 60 volt input. Okay, DC is on. The DC cutoff is now back on. And obviously you have to wait just a tad. And notice, look, we got a ton of power, right? It was at 40% when we tested this one. So this array would charge this guy's in no time, maybe an hour, hour and a half. I mean, the whole box. Okay, so we're ramping up here. Now, once again, you got to see that ramp up process in real time, which I like. That's a soft start, guys. That's easier on the system. That's that air conditioner with the soft start. All right, we're hitting at 300. All right, look at that, 360 almost, 370. 380, 392, we're getting there. 393. Now notice it's a few watts higher, guys. Just a couple, but notice that you know, these have to use some power to power these, right? There's a screen in there and a TV kind of thing. But notice it's definitely going up to 393. And remember, that's a 60 volt array, 3 panel in series parallel, and we're darn near right there, guys. So what we'll try now is, let me turn off the DC cutoff. This will take a second to drop, of course, and I'm going to put this into this one, and then we're going to turn that back on. Okay, and now this one is the 4 Acopower 200 watt panels at 40 volts again. So we're going to go back to this one, because I want to see if we can max this out to 400. And I know I said I was going to end this video, guys, but boy, once you get testing, it's hard to stop. And once I get rambling, it's even harder to stop. All right, so let's see what we got here. Yeah, see how it's 399 in this system? So let's see how this one would react now. Oh, see this hit, see it almost just hit 400 now. Well, 399, but let's see if we can hit 400 here and make sure that this can input the wattage that this says, because I'm a big fan of numbers, because numbers never lie. All right, let's see here. 370 almost, here 376, 390, guys, we're getting there. 394, 395, and that looks like it. Okay, so it's a 400 watt input, but I think it stops at 396. I've never seen anything higher than 396, and I'm okay with that. I mean, I'd like to see the 400. That's the, you know, that's the goal number that we're all aiming for. But 395 is acceptable to me. It is not 400 though, I'll be honest with that. But 395 is damn close, guys. And I know this is bringing in more than 400 watts now, because we saw that on this system. So it's possible, and notice, guys, here, let me move this. I want you to be right next to the fans, okay? So there's this side that has no fans. That's the intake. So what you hear is this one. Notice this one's making noise. Okay, now this is the fan area here. Okay, plus my window's open as well. And now this is the fan of the bigger system. Or actually, I think the fans are on the other side. So you can see, guys, this is bringing, see, 396. This is bringing in 396 watts, guys, at 40 volts. The working voltage is probably like 30 or something like that. 31, something like that, whatever it was before. But guys, there's no heat being generated here. Look at this. That's nothing. 80 degrees? I mean, hell, it's 72 degrees in this room right now. So this is 10 degrees, 9 degrees higher than the room temperature, 11 degrees higher. And I don't see anything. Now, if you look at the big system, 83, let's see, 90. I'll go right on the panels here. See? So the bigger system is actually hotter, look at that, than the smaller system. This, guys, I guarantee you, okay, is an opinion, but I guarantee this system is running better than this one. But this has more power and a bigger inverter, so I do like this one. But I'll tell you what, for a portable system, guys, you cannot go wrong with a little box like this. I mean, it's a couple $100. I think I saw them on Pecron's website for sale for like $300, guys. I mean, seriously, what, $300 to get into this industry? That's nothing. I have sitting here in front of you possibly $10,000 worth of solar stuff sitting here, not to mention the panels outside. You know, that's 10 grand. It's a car. And to spend that much just to learn that this little box is literally pound for pound better than all this big stuff, wow. So you don't have to make the same mistake. That's what these reviews are for, guys. All right, I think I'll conclude the test right there. I don't see it going any higher than 396, and I'm okay with that. That's 4 watts shy of what this number says right here. If it goes any higher, I'll put an update comment on this video so you can see. Maybe I'll catch it on video and put it in the next update. But guys, I mean, look at it. It's bringing in the same power as this one almost. I mean, that's crazy. This is 8 kilowatts, and this is 600. So this is just under, well, maybe a 1/7 of what the power is of this. And then about 60% output on the board as opposed to this one for the inverter, for the AC inverter. All right, guys, I think this test is extremely successful. I hope you liked the video. If you did, smash that like button and let other people know that this is good information here. It's long and it's long-winded, I understand that, but it's good information and people can make a better decision if they have the information. This is not a sales channel. This is not something to where we just try to get you to buy stuff. This is something where I want you to see and know the information before you buy it, so you don't spend $10,000 like I did and then go, hey, I like this little box better than all the ones I have sitting here other than the power output. So this is a very, very, very capable little device. Pecron, very good job. If I had more thumbs, I would do it. Okay, so these are going to be thumbs for this video, guys. 6 thumbs up for this little bad boy right here. This is a hell of a product, guys. Check this one out. All right, I'll see you next time on Ramblin Bob Reviews.